Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of MSBA's Open Session, our conversations on current issues relevant to school board members and education leaders throughout the state of Missouri. And on this particular edition of Open Session, we're going to be focusing on the board's role in responding to the coronavirus situation that we're all dealing with. And joining me to discuss that topic is Phyllis Barks. Phyllis is our Associate Executive Director for Leadership Development, and also Janet Tilley. Janet is our Senior Director of Board Development. And ladies, thanks a lot for being with us. We appreciate it.
Sure.
And Phyllis, let's start with you if we could. It's an unprecedented situation we're going through for all of us, certainly in our personal lives and our professional lives, and that's true for school board members and superintendents throughout our state as well, facing some situations that really they never dreamed that they would be facing, so it's a challenging situation for everybody, isn't it?
It is indeed, Brent, and I think the school board really has an opportunity to provide some good leadership for their communities and for their school district at this time. Just to maintain some level of certainty in these uncertain times, that your leadership is still there, that we're still functioning, that we're still paying attention to what's happening in our district, and that we're here to make sure that we address the needs of our students and our community.
Mm-hmm. And Janet, of course, our schools throughout the state are closed as we speak,
Mm-hmm.
and many of us are working remotely, and school boards and superintendents are in that same boat as well, but it's still important for them to remain connected, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. And we are fortunate that we live in an age where we can connect through meetings just like this. But, you don't always have to have an internet, even just, text back and forth, those kinds of things. But keeping that communication open and ongoing is absolutely critical, because everyone is afraid. And the only way that you can overcome that fear is through factual information. And so it's going to be extremely critical that clear, ongoing communication happens between the superintendent and the board and the district and its community.
Mm-hmm. And especially important, Janet, also because our situation is changing rapidly, and decisions are being made, and boards and superintendents need to be on the same page, and that constant communication is critical for that, isn't it?
It is. And, I think we can even look at the role model from our governor, who, every day at 3:00 had a press conference that was on Facebook Live. And so it was something that we could turn to every single day. Even if there wasn't big information, it was still kind of constant and steady. So, again, it needs to be continual and planned. And clearly done.
Something else many of our boards are facing, Phyllis, they haven't before, is the need to, again, continue to meet, to continue to govern a school district. And they're having to do this in some cases virtually. And I know our legal department has been is providing a lot of good guidance in that area, but that's going to be a new experience for a lot of boards meeting virtually, isn't it?
Absolutely. And again, as Janet pointed out, we are actually fortunate to be in this time when our electronic means of communication is vast. We have a lot of different methods by which boards can meet virtually. And, we may have some boards that are experienced in maybe one or two board members accessing the board meeting electronically when they're out of town or have other work commitments. But this is a whole new experience when everybody has to access the meeting remotely and to be able to work together. And I'm glad you pointed out those documents that our legal department has put out, and I would just encourage everyone to check daily, at least weekly, if not daily, our coronavirus specific page on our website, because that has not only those legal documents that guide them into how to conduct their meetings and the special provisions that have been put in place regarding the Sunshine Law and other kinds of things. It's just really critical that we still observe those laws and but still are able to conduct business appropriately and in a timely fashion too.
Mm-hmm. And a timely fashion is right, Phyllis. As I mentioned to Janet, things are changing so rapidly. So are we in a situation now where boards really have to allow their superintendent to make spur-of-the-moment decisions sometimes on how things are going to be handled, operational type decisions, certainly keeping the Board of Education informed about those, but we're in a situation where those decisions have to be made, aren't we?
And absolutely, you know, it's things are happening so rapidly that for the safety of the staff, for the safety of students and families particularly, they may have to make very sudden decisions that really are not possible to keep, you know, to convene the board at a moment's notice to get the permission to do those kinds of things. And, you know, that's why, you know, we talk all throughout the year in all of our training and in our conversations with boards and superintendents of how critical it is to build a collaborative relationship with the board and superintendent. And it not only serves the day-to-day and month-to-month, but when we're faced with this kind of crisis, when they have that positive collaborative relationship, it provides such a foundation of trust by the board and for the superintendent to be able to respond immediately when there are these needs.
Another issue, Janet, is communication with the public. Obviously, parents and community members very interested in how the situation's being handled in a local school district, and conveying those messages in an accurate way is important. And for a school board, having a unified message with the superintendent also is very important, isn't it?
It is absolutely critical. And, you know, one of the things that we have seen pop up is, you know, parents becoming the teachers in the homes. And while our school districts are doing a myriad of different things to be able to support parents in that role, that has been something that has been, I think, kind of life-changing for everyone. Of having that kind of role reversal to have that focus, you know, mainly on the parent and at home. And the other thing too is that, you know, parents are going to be concerned about what happens to my child, not just this year, but next year, you know, and having clear communication from the district about what's going to happen with grades, what's going to happen with my seniors who are graduating, my seniors who need to take AP exams. And so whenever that information comes to our school districts, it's absolutely critical that the leaders push that information out and that they use a variety of ways. Not all parents have access to social media. So a lot of times it's done in the media itself, whether that's print or television. But again, it goes back to what we were talking about before, about having clear communication, having it consistent almost every day. Parents need to have some kind of update. And that gives them some reassurance that the district is being planful with this as best as possible, and that the district has the best interest of children at heart, and that they are really holding on to their district mission and vision, which is the success of all kids, especially in this particular time.
And holding on to that mission and vision, Phyllis, that may be a challenge in these times that are so unusual, but it's important for boards to do that, isn't it? Even though, you know, our delivery method of education is being disrupted, all kinds of things are being disrupted, but that doesn't mean that the board should not continue to be focused on what their overall goals for the district are. Isn't that right?
Certainly, those should always be in the forefront, and it's those the foundation of what the community expects from their school district, and what the board and the community and the superintendent and all the stakeholders have really come together to say, this is what we want to accomplish. This is what we want to achieve. And that should always be in the forefront, no matter what the circumstances are. Certainly how we approach that right now, how we operationalize it, is going to look quite different from what it did a month ago when we had schools in session. But those core values, those core goals and priorities that have been established really should provide the guidance for how the board and the superintendent make decisions now. In terms of how we're supporting students and families, how we communicate on an ongoing basis. We certainly, as Janet pointed out, need to do that much more frequently now, because we don't have kids sitting in front of us and being able to interact. So just being conscious of, all that great work that has taken place in your district previously, that has been guiding you every day, every week, every month, should still be in the forefront.
And Phyllis, from our standpoint at MSBA, we're doing what we can to continue to offer resources to school boards and administrators. You mentioned our coronavirus page on our website that has all kinds of great resources, but we're also going to be offering some board leadership and training opportunities delivered online that are going to be available to our members as well.
Yes, absolutely. We have the things that have been available on our website for a while, but we have some new things that were posted today. So everyone probably knows that we were not able to hold our spring regional meetings this spring, and we canceled those. But we have been able to record all of those programs that were planned, and we have posted those on our website as well. So please do check those out and look at those under meetings and then spring meetings, and we'll have links to those programs in the MSBA Weekly and our other news outlets. So just a few highlights. We have two programs that address the needs of students who are impacted by trauma. We have a program on emergency operations planning. We have one that's called Breaking Bad that talks about the challenges that school boards often face and how to address those through effective governance practices. We had planned to have learning opportunities for our school resource officers and other school safety personnel during these spring meetings. And so we have a program that just talks about the resources that are available through our Center for Education Safety. So not only are those available to board members, but all of your school staff as well. So those are some, we're really excited to be able to provide these spring programs with the good quality information, and board members can still earn certification credit. Governance teams can still meet their core meeting requirement for the governance team award, and all that information is on the website as well.
All right, Phyllis Barks, Janet Tilley, thank you so much for being with us on our program today and sharing your insight into the role of the school board in responding to the coronavirus situation that we're going through right now. We really appreciate it. And we thank you for joining us as well on this edition of MSBA's Open Session.